I stopped answering my door a year ago, but the deliveries still get inside. I don't remember when it started feeling unusual. At first, it was just a convenience. I live on the third floor of a building where people don't talk much. Not out of hostility, just a kind of mutual agreement. We nod in the stairwell. We hold the elevator if someone's a few steps away. We don't ask questions. So when packages began appearing outside my apartment door without a knock, I didn't question it. It made sense. Delivery drivers are busy. People work from home. Contactless delivery is normal now. Still, I noticed something small. The packages were always positioned neatly, centered in front of the door, edges aligned with the floor tiles, not tossed or dropped like most deliveries, placed deliberately. The first time I stepped over one, I felt a brief hesitation, like I was interrupting something. I told myself that was ridiculous. My routine is simple. I wake at 7:10. Not 7, not 7:15. I like the slight delay. It feels intentional. I make coffee, black. I check my email, then the news. I leave for work at 8:05. I work in an office that doesn't require much of me. Data entry, mostly. It's repetitive in a way that I find reassuring. Numbers don't change their meaning depending on tone. There's a man who sits across from me, Andre. He hums quietly while he works. Same melody every day, though I've never been able to place it. He once told me it's from a song his mother used to sing. I nodded like I understood. I didn't ask anything else. The packages continued. Small ones at first, padded envelopes, boxes with generic labels, always addressed to me, always something I had technically ordered. That's the part that matters. I checked my purchase history the third time it happened. Everything matched. Same items, same dates. I had ordered them. I just didn't remember doing it. That happens sometimes. Late night browsing, absent-minded clicks. It's not unusual. But there was something off about the timing. The orders were always placed between 2:13 and 2:17 a.m., not around that time, exactly within that range. I noticed it after the fifth package. I remember sitting at my kitchen table, laptop open, scrolling through timestamps. 2:14, 2:16, 2:13, 2:15, all within 4 minutes. I tried to recall being awake at that hour. I couldn't. I started setting an alarm for 2:10 a.m. The first night, I woke up before it rang. That happens too, sometimes. I lay there in the dark, waiting. The apartment was quiet. The kind of quiet that isn't complete. You can still hear the building settling, pipes shifting, someone moving in a unit above. I checked my phone. 2:12. I sat up, walked to my desk, opened my laptop. Nothing unusual. No recent orders, no activity. At 2:18, I went back to bed. The next morning, there was a package outside my door. Inside was a set of keys, 3 of them, different sizes, no labels. I don't own anything that requires those keys. I checked my purchase history, no record of them. That was the first time something didn't match. I held them for a while, turning them in my hand. They were clean, not new exactly, but not worn either, used just enough to look legitimate. I placed them in the kitchen drawer. I didn't throw them away. Andre asked me if I had trouble sleeping. It was around noon. We were both at our desks. He hadn't stopped humming. "No," I said. "You look like you're awake at night," he said. "I'm not." He nodded, like that confirmed something. He said, "My mother used to walk in her sleep. She'd rearrange things, furniture mostly. Once she moved the entire kitchen table. That sounds difficult." "It wasn't," he said. "She always put everything back before morning." He smiled, but not in a way that invited a response. I didn't ask anything else. I started noticing changes, small ones. A mug placed slightly closer to the edge of the counter than I remember leaving it. A chair angled differently. My shoes aligned more precisely than I ever bothered to do. Nothing was missing, nothing was added, just adjusted. I told myself I was becoming more observant. The next package contained a phone. Not new, older model, charged but turned off. No brand markings, no SIM card. I checked my purchase history again. Nothing. This time, I didn't hesitate. I turned it on. No lock screen, no apps, just a blank interface, like it had been reset. Except for one thing. A notes app. Single entry. No title. Just a time. 2:15. And below it, don't forget the third door. I don't have 3 doors. There's the entrance, the bathroom, the bedroom. That's it. Unless you count the closet. I don't. That night, I didn't set an alarm. I stayed awake. I sat at the kitchen table with the lights off, watching the reflection of the hallway through the peephole. It distorts everything slightly, but you can still see movement. Nothing happened. Not at 2:13, not at 2:17. At 2:22, I stood up. That's when I noticed the bedroom door was open. I always close it before I go to the kitchen. I'm certain of that. Inside, everything looked normal. Bed made, curtains drawn, nothing out of place. Except for the closet. The door was slightly ajar, just enough to suggest it hadn't been fully closed. I walked over, paused, then opened it. There was a coat hanging inside that I don't own. Dark gray, long, slightly too large. I touched the fabric. It was warm. I didn't call anyone. I didn't check with neighbors. There's a kind of understanding in buildings like this. You don't escalate things unless they're undeniably wrong. This wasn't undeniable. Not yet. The next day, Andre didn't hum. He just watched me for a while. "You look better," he said. "I didn't sleep," I replied. "That helps sometimes." I didn't ask what he meant. I brought the phone to work. I kept it in my drawer. At 2:14 p.m., it vibrated. No number, no message, just a notification. The Notes app had updated. Now it read, 2:15. Don't forget the third door. It's behind you when you don't look. I turned in my chair. There's a storage cabinet behind me. Metal, locked. I've never opened it. I don't have a key. When I got home, there was no package. That felt wrong. I stood in the hallway for a while, looking at the empty space in front of my door. Centered, waiting. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The apartment felt organized. Not cleaner, not different, just aligned. Like everything had been measured and corrected. The kitchen drawer was slightly open. Inside, the keys were gone. I didn't search for them. I knew where they were. I went to the closet. The coat was still there, heavier somehow. I reached into the pocket. The keys were inside, all 3. That's when I understood something simple. The packages weren't being delivered. They were being placed. After. I tried the first key on the bathroom door. It didn't fit. The second one didn't either. The third key turned easily. There was no sound when it unlocked, just a slight shift, like something had been waiting. Inside the closet, behind the hanging coats, there was a panel, not obvious, not hidden, just overlooked. I had seen it before, I'm sure of that. I just never considered it a door. The key fit perfectly. I didn't open it immediately. I went back to the kitchen, sat down, waited. Silence, the kind that presses in slightly. At 2:15 a.m., my phone buzzed. A new note appeared. "You don't have to watch this time." I went back to the closet, turned the handle, opened the door. It led to another apartment. Identical layout. Same furniture, same placement, but slightly earlier. A mug half filled, a chair slightly off-center, shoes not yet aligned, like a version of my space before it had been corrected. There was someone there, standing in the kitchen, back turned, wearing a dark gray coat. I didn't step inside. I didn't speak. I just watched.
He moved slowly, adjusted the chair, aligned the mug, straightened the shoes, then paused. Without turning around, he said, "You missed one." I looked down. My own shoes just inside the doorway were uneven. He said, "I thought you stopped checking." I did. He nodded. That's when it works best. I closed the door, locked it, went back to bed. The next morning there was a package outside my door, centered, perfectly aligned. Inside was a note. No box, no wrapping, just a folded piece of paper. It read, "You're doing it earlier now." I don't remember placing it, but I must have. And now when I leave for work at 8:05, everything is already in order. The mugs, the chairs, the shoes, even the things I haven't touched yet. Andre started humming again yesterday.